Hello everyone, and you are watching This Week in Stupid for the 10th of January 2022. Since this is the current year and I keep hearing in the media about a famous movie called Don't Look Up that people want me to see, I want to say that I reject your progressive propaganda movies and instead I will suggest to you to watch something else. A movie that is called Soylent Green. And it is also an environmental movie. It was a warning from the past that unless we change course, we will end up exactly like in this horrible dystopian book-to-movie adaptation. And here you see the beautiful poster. It's the year 2022. People are still the same. They'll do anything to get what they need. And they need Soylent Green. Now, the movie is a warning to the climate disaster. It was done in the 70s, and even then people knew how to fearmonger like a boss. Except that this movie is actually quite good. The book itself is really great. In the future, because of overpopulation, in New York there are over 80 million people alive. And the only type of food that they can consume comes into this type of sludge called Soylent. And one of the more expensive type of sludges is Soylent Green, and everyone tries to get a hold of it. But due to the supply chain logistics that are going to collapse in 2022, sometimes Soylent Green isn't available. And because of that, people go to riot on the street. And the riot control is literally having excavators just pushing people away. It is a dark glimpse into the future, a dark warning to what will happen if people do not stop overpopulating, if people do not stop polluting. And as such, I encourage you to watch this movie. You can also watch this presentation on my other channel. There's going to be a link into the description where I talk about the upcoming Netflix blockbuster, Don't Look Up, and compare it to this very dire warning from the past that's going to happen this year called Soylent Green. Now, with the shilling of my secondary channel out of the way, let's get right into the news. And as it is customary, we are going to start with the news that makes people laugh. Except this one doesn't make me laugh because I'm arachnophobic. This one gives me the heebie-jeebies. Apparently, spiders have been blamed after breaking siren which played creepy nursery rhymes randomly at night to people in the United Kingdom. So I'm wondering, is there anything in this tweet that can make it more horrifying? And as I looked at it, it doesn't really make sense. But then, as you read the article, it turns out that a shop owner, in order to dissuade people that were trying to rob him, installed an alarm system which played creepy nursery rhymes. However, because the alarm system was very sensitive and it wasn't set up properly, during the middle of the night, spiders managed to activate it. And as such, it was playing creepy nursery rhymes during the dark, much to the displeasure of the UK townsfolk who apparently were just trying to sleep. Also in the UK, transgender man slams nurse for calling him mother. Wait, what did he do to her? He slammed her. He slams. Apparently, not everyone who gives birth is a mother. This transgender man would like medical workers to know. That's right, educate them. In October 2020, Los Angeles resident Bennett Casper Williams, 47, gave birth via C-sec to a healthy baby boy with his husband, Malik. But in the process of having little Hudson, Casper Williams was troubled by the constant misgendering of him by the hospital staff, who insisted of calling him a mother. No one can ever really know whether having children is possible until you try. Being born with a uterus doesn't make conceiving or carrying a certainty. the father, who began transitioning in 2014, said of his parenthood journey. That's why it's so important that we stop defining womanhood in terms of motherhood, because it is false equivalency. That all women can become mothers, that all mothers carry their children, or that all people who carry children are mothers. Now, I'm not an expert on the subject. I only went to med school and law school, and I'm in no means qualified on talking about these very high academic concepts. So what I am going to do instead is I'm going to allow someone that is far more informed than me to educate you in case you didn't understood why this is an actual problem.
This is a pregnant man. Yes, they are female to male. When he went to the hospital and had his child, he was upset because many of the hospital staff was referring to him as the mother. Some of you may say, what's the problem with that? He is biologically the mother. And while that is true, here's why it's disrespectful. He goes by male pronouns and is a male. Yes, he did just have a child, which is something that traditionally a mother does, but he is a man. He is the father. When you're referring to him and you're talking straight to him, why would you give him mother, knowing that that's traditionally a woman, when he's identifying as a man? Your mind should automatically say father, and at no point do you catch yourself and say father, you just keep saying mother. That's why it's problematic, because you're seeing a man. Yes, he just had a child, but you're seeing a man with a whole ass beard, and you're still saying mother. You would think that your mind would tell you, I should probably say father. That's why it's disrespectful. And then there's some of you out there saying, it's no big deal. No, it is a big deal. To a trans person, gender identity matters. This is no different than a gay couple that has kids together. You would refer to them both as the father. Same thing. And I'm also hearing a lot of women, and a lot of them have been black, which is upsetting because they're saying they're trying to erase women. Well, how are they trying to erase women? They're not saying that women don't exist. They're just saying that they are not a woman. It's all about respect at the end of the day. Respect people and how they would like to be treated. He would like to be treated as a man. It's not that hard to do. And that has nothing to do with you, and it's nothing to take away from you. No one's trying to take away womanhood from you.
Now, while that was very enlightening and educational, and I will have to spend the rest of my week trying to further understand and memorize what was being said, I do have one question though. Why do we assume that only women can be mother? Why can't a man be mother? Why must we use these bigoted, reactionary concepts that have been ingrained to us by the heteronormative, patriarchal, cisgender, capitalist society? Why can't we finally become progressive? How can we send spaceships to Alpha Centauri if we do not progress as a species, as humanity? And the only way to progress is to start by changing our language, by changing the way we speak, and by holding each other accountable, not just by how we speak, but more importantly, how we feel and how we think. And if we are being held back by the chains of the patriarchy to assume that only a woman can be a mother, we will never send those spaceships to Alpha Centauri. So while I personally will educate myself and further strive to become a better human being and push this ideology of anti-bigotry upon the unsuspected capitalist society, I do ask you to think of what I just said. try to be more open-minded and accept different worldviews from different people, such as myself, who bring upon to you the rich diversity of Romania into your American and British household. I will give you all a test to verify if you have chosen the path of progress and enlightenment by heeding my words of advice and by using this video to educate yourself. Or have you chosen the path of bigotry and reactionaryism? Here comes the test. A cop has smashed a car window to rescue an abandoned baby. Question. Was the baby belonging to a mother, or was the baby belonging to a father? So I will repeat the question. Did the baby belong to a mother, or did the baby belong to a father? The correct answer is that the baby belonged to China, because it was made in China. You see, the baby happened to be a doll. So if you answered correctly, congratulations. You are a forward-thinking person. You are filled with compassion and empathy. If you answered incorrectly, there is more work to be done. You are a reactionary bigot, and the only thing you can do is to strive to be less reactionary and donate money to my Patreon so that I can further try to educate you. But I can just try to give you, but if you are not willing to understand and you're not willing to learn, you bigot, then it's not my fault. So the police officer apparently saw what appears to be a baby in a car and smashed the window, much to the displeasure of the baby owner. Turns out it was a puppet. He rescued a puppet. By the way, how does that happen? I mean, you look into the car and you see the thing, which I assume it must have been very eerie and creepily, considering that it actually looked so real. But you don't ask the question of why doesn't it move? I mean, surely an infant would have made a move, would have bust a move at one point. But yeah, you know what? Maybe the cop was progressive as well. Just because some babies move, we shouldn't assume that all babies move. So he wanted to be safe than sorry. Spokesperson actually highlighted this, that they rather have their officers intervene when there is no problem than to not intervene when there is a problem. And surprisingly, the car owners were actually more understanding, which makes me believe that they were quite rich. And the police precinct is going to give them money now in order to pay for their broken window. But it's all good, because in the multilateral, progressive, anti-racist society, safety is a lot more important than freedom. So the cop thought that someone may be in danger, so, safety is paramount. What, do you want anything else besides safety? Do you want liberty? Well, fuck your liberty. Fuck your freedom, as Arnold Schwarzenegger put it. You're a selfish person. Only selfish people want liberty. So the correct progressive individual thinks about safety first, which is why I look at this picture right here and I don't feel very safe. I can feel the plague coming through the screen. It is making me triggered. I don't like this. By the way, all jokes aside, I wonder when at a company somewhere or at the university somewhere there will be a person requiring people to mask up on Zoom calls because they don't feel safe, because they're getting triggered by seeing a human face. It will happen. Mark my words. It's just a matter of time. It's like an earthquake. The correct question is not if there is going to be an earthquake, it's when. Kind of like me during teenage years when I was dating a lot of girls. The question about a venereal illness wasn't about if, it was about when. Why did I share that, by the way? No, but that was my thinking. And it's the same. Like, there will be at the university, especially in a very progressive place where people actually value safety, and they are going to say, can you wear a mask on a Zoom call? Because seeing a person without a mask is triggering to me. And they're going to be like, you know what? Yes, we should keep this person safe because safety of mind is also important. But going back to this beautiful picture, I don't like being a person that just complains. I like being a person that offers solutions. So look at this, bigot. Now, isn't this progressive? Isn't this what a normal person, a cherishable member of our society would desire? For singers. So now you have this mask and you can actually sing. You put it on. Let me put mine on. Sorry, I don't have a webcam, but you can imagine putting mine on. And look how well you can sing now. Isn't it awesome? See? You can enjoy the same activities you used to do it right now, but you just need to stay safe. You need to keep yourself safe. You need to keep other people safe. And then when you walk on the street, you are like Jesus Christ. You look at the mortals with only disdain in your face, and you expect them to fall on their knees and be like, thank you for keeping us safe. Without you, we would be in danger. You're like the little arm of the government. You're like the Chaquito, the small arm of the government that pushes this culture of safety from the government into our homes, into our mouths especially, by coming up with these beautiful concepts, putting on a mask on a singer. But I have even a better example, okay? This is the Eastern European way of keeping people safe.
Oh my god.
Now that was progressive. Wasn't that progressive? Oh, I thought it was so very progressive. I am so glad we are moving forward as a society, as human beings. We are on the upper echelons of higher thought and higher cognitive awareness so that our multicultural, multilateral, developed, anti-racist society can improve. And do you know what is the most progressive thing? The most progressive thing is math, you bigot. Mathematics. Science, bitches, yeah. And the New York Times is giving us their wisdom on how to evaluate your risk assessment based on a mathematical formula. Although you have to pay them $1 in order to gain access to this wisdom. But still, it's the New York Times, it's the elder ones, the most knowledgeable people on planet Earth, the journalists. The elders are sharing with us their wisdom. Do you understand how lucky we are to be able to receive that wisdom into our homes and into our hearts? So listen here, if you are going out and you are worried about your safety, like any citizen should, any human being, every moment, every second of their life should worry about their safety constantly. This is why you need to tune in. This is why you need to watch TV. This is why you need to read the newspaper every day, every second, every moment of your being. To keep in touch with how to be safe, because safety can change from one day to another. And if you aren't tuned, then you're a bigot. You're holding society back. So there is a calculator for how to keep yourself and your family safe. You need to add the age plus the holy vaccination status plus the number of guests plus the zip code plus the activity. And do you know what this equals? It equals, should I even leave the house? Every moment you should ask yourself, do I need to leave the house? Outside of the house, there is danger. There is insurmountable harm. And by staying indoors, by being under house arrest, you are keeping yourself, your family, your community, and everyone else safe. The only people that leave their house are the people that are so compassionate and so kind, with an unbelievable sense of empathy towards you. And these are the politicians and the journalists. They constantly have to put themselves at great risk so that you can be safe. So why would you leave your house unless absolutely necessary? So the New York Times is telling you this mathematical formula. This is their gift from them to you, from the elders to you. And I want you to internalize it. I want you to take it and hold it into your bosom and thank them for this gift. In other news, I have a question for you guys. How did you sleep last night? How did you sleep? Legit question. Because I personally have never slept better. Because I know that the government, the politicians are there to keep me safe. So I feel secure knowing that there are people much smarter than I am, much more powerful than I am, who dedicate every single second of their existence to keep me safe. And in Germany, for example, at the heart of the European Union, we have the German health minister Lauterbach. And he talked about a problem that is facing Germany right now. You see, with the new variant of COVID, which is very transmissible, people can get natural immunity. But this, according to him, is dirty immunity. This is a dirty immunity. Your immunity is dirty, dirty, dirty. 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 Like the British people say it. How do the British people say it? Dirty. And because of that, we cannot wait for compulsory vaccination. So the government will take you and will vaccinate you to keep you healthy. Do you want it? Fine, you get it. You don't want it? You get it. And they can't do that if you have the dirty, dirty natural immunity. So this is a problem, okay? And do you know why the natural immunity is dirty? It is dirty because it doesn't have an official stamp. The holy stamp. The Holy Roman Empire, you know, when they created that official seal? Like, that comes from God. It comes from Jesus themselves. And through God, through Jesus, into the hand of the politician, onto that piece of paper, boom, reality manifests itself the moment you have the seal of approval. And without that, we are nothing. Without that, it is dirty. Dirty, dirty, dirty. And the only way, like, this is also something that I understand, is that nowadays, the idea of being an anti-vaxxer is completely different than what it used to be. So before, it was a person that's like the definition against the vaccines. Now, it's a person that's against the government trying to force people to get the vaccine. Because the only way people can get it is if the government forces them. The government force is the only thing capable of convincing people that it is for their own health. Because without it, look, like, people are like sheep. And this is why, I guess, farmers in Germany, again, the Holy Roman Empire, created this beautiful art piece, this beautiful picture to encourage, to stimulate you to go along with the program. So they took the sheep and they managed to herd the sheep into the form of a syringe. This is absolutely beautiful. I think this belongs in a museum. And I am glad to live in the European Union because these people, they want me safe. And it's not just Germany, by the way. It's also France. We have here Macron with his fists pumping. Do you know what's pumping through his fists? Power and strength. Power and strength that you will never have, but he has it. He is empowered right now. You can see it, right? Like the power courses through him. And it goes from the belly all the way to his heart and to his head. So he's now very powerful. This is a position of strength. And he says that people who are not vaccinated are compared to non-citizens. And he will dedicate every moment of his life to piss them off. Because that is where the science has led us. I know science can be cruel sometimes. But it is science. What can you do? Science is science. So if the science says you need to piss people off, if the science says you need to treat millions of your citizens as non-citizens, well, then that is what you must do. Now, historically speaking, when a country decided that a minority of their population is responsible for all the evils that is happening in that country, historically speaking, it didn't lead to good places. Like, historically speaking, it was always ending up with being on the wrong side of history. But this time it's different. This time is different because now people are progressive. Macron is going to send spaceships to Alpha Centauri. And more importantly, he has science on his back. No other country in the history of mankind had had science on their back, but now we have science. And look at him. This is science empowering him. The power. It's like an engine. I realized if you take these two world leaders and you place one next to the other, it's almost like they're dancing. Like, safety, dance. You can cry if you want to. Meanwhile, Justin Trudeau, in an interview that he held in French in Quebec, he said that these people, referring to the undocumented, as in the anti-vaxxers, they are often women haters, racist, and most importantly, science deniers. They deny the science. The science comes to them and says 2 + 2 = 4. And these people go, yeah, yeah. Horrible. Should we tolerate them? Asks Trudeau. What do you say, good people? What do you say, righteous individuals, science lovers? What do we do? By the way, isn't Justin Trudeau the one with the blackface scandal? It's kind of funny that he is the one that gets to lecture people about racism. But it makes sense if you think about it. You have to become a racist to think like a racist. He's the most educated person in the entire Canada that can lecture people about anti-racism. The throne of anti-racism needs to sit under Trudeau's ass because he is now the anti-racist pope. His decrees shape reality. Finally, how much time do we have left? Do we have time to talk about January the 6th, which transpired this week? Oh my God. Look, I don't know what happened, but when I listened to the Democrats talk, it sounded as if aliens were chasing them around the Capitol for hours until the Colonial Marines arrived in order to rescue them. I mean, it was so bad. Words cannot even express how bad it was. Look, it was so bad that you are in danger right now. Yes, right now you in your home are in danger, but don't be afraid. Do not be alarmed. There are rich and influential people that are going to help you out. For example, the Twitter created a dedicated team to monitor harmful content. You see, on January the 5th, you were in harm's way. Bad things could have happened to you, but now Twitter stepped up to the plate and they went, no more harm. No more. We will create an institution of decent, moral, upstanding people, and they will protect you. Yes, you will be protected from harm. Man, I wish I could go to Twitter. Do you think they would let me suck their cock if I go there? As a thank you. Like, I really love what they are doing. Oh, words cannot express my eternal gratitude. You think your grandma knew how to worship Jesus? Man, you haven't seen me worshiping Twitter. I mean, every second of my life I am grateful because of Twitter. I get to live. I get to be safe. Without Twitter, I can't imagine a world without Twitter. We need to invent a time machine and send Twitter back into the past when there were cavemen to keep them safe as well. In the meantime, this January 6th event, I am led to understand it's actually worse than Pearl Harbor.
In her remarks today compared, Vice President Harris, in her remarks today compared January 6th to Pearl Harbor and 9/11. Can you elaborate on what the thinking was behind that comparison? She's faced some criticism, especially in conservative circles, for that.
Well, I would first say that, as the president also said in his remarks, if we look back to some very difficult moments in our history, back in 1861, there were no Confederate flags being waved in the Capitol. In very dark moments in our history, there were not people storming our nation's capital, trying to take over the office and even threaten the Speaker of the House. So instead of, for those who are being critics of the Vice President's remarks, I think instead of focusing on or analyzing comparisons of moments in history, I would suggest that they be a part of solving the threat to democracy that occurs today, that is happening.
I completely agree. I think that America is not spending enough on its own military and its own defense force. If 766.58 billions isn't enough to keep a couple of chuckleheads that are unorganized from entering the most important building in America, and if their entire democracy is concentrated just into one building, you have a problem. I think they need to double their defense force, and what I do think, they need to build another Capitol Hill building so that if one gets occupied, they can move to the other. It's a backup plan. You need to start thinking logic. You need to start thinking methodically. Be a step in front of the evil people that can break into a building, right? And have two speakers. Have two speakers of the House so that if one gets threatened, you have the other one. That's what you need to do. The shadow speaker, I would call it. The one that is the shadow speaker. Oh my God, why does no one hire me? Like, people should hire me, and I would give them the best advice possible. As for the event itself, look, words cannot describe just how terrible it was. MSNBC even made a comparison with the death camps in Nazi Germany. I'm going to show you that on my live stream after this. We need to have some footage and material for the live stream. But why limit yourself to history? Why not just use your imagination in order to come up with something that could accurately describe just how close democracy it was to ending? I think it's as bad as the Kobayashi Maru in Star Trek. No, you know what? It's as bad as the destruction of the Death Star in Star Wars. Can you imagine just how many people were affected by that? Like the dread that was felt into the Galactic Federation. Huh? Am I going like it was bad anyway. Horrible. So hopefully historians will mark it down so that future generations can understand just how close democracy ended from the average Joe. Like the average twat went in there, went through the police, went through all the barricades, went through everything, went through the doors, and threatened democracy. Anyway, with that said, hopefully you enjoyed this, and I hope I made you smile, because that's the most important thing in this Weekend Stupid, is to put a smile on people's faces, because there's a lot of bad stuff happening, and the year is just starting. So if you want, you can follow me on my live stream right after this. I have a couple more articles to go through. And also, if you want to support my channel, there's a link. There's a subscribe star, which you can access. A little bit of e-begging. And don't forget about the other channel, Lack of Entertainment. I have a very interesting analysis of the movie called Soylent Green, which you might consider watching, because harrowing tale about the future. Very, very problematic with this whole pollution and overpopulation. They made it in the 1970s, and they're very accurately predicting what happened today. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.